Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's Shanna. Now, you're probably wondering what all this scrap stuff is laying here on my desk. This was an old Love from Lizzie kit. It was either Easter of last year or the year before. I've had it for a while. I'm not sure how long. I did check the website, and none of it is available, but that's okay. I just want to blow up this remaining bits of this kit and get it out of my craft room because I have new kits coming in all the time from Love from Lizzie, and I thought I would just get it used. Now, when I worked with this before, I've got my distressed oxide, spun sugar, and tumbled glass. When I worked with this kit before, I did not use the wooden pieces. There's the bunnies, and there's some shovels and some plants and just gardening tools and stuff like that. But today I'm going to make myself use it. I'm going to save the other wood pieces for maybe some other projects. I can tuck them away separately and use those for, I thought they'd be fun for some weird craft roulette parameters if I had those. So I just got my spun sugar sprayed down here on this bunny here. I'm going to lay it aside and let it dry. And then I'm going to get my next bunny and I'm going to get it sprayed, and then we'll lay it aside and let it dry as well. So we'll just pull it out, lay it aside. Now I've got some panels here, and I thought while I've got these sprays out, I'd just go ahead and spray up a couple panels, and we'll have some fun and use those as well. So I've got my tumbled glass, and now I'm adding some spun sugar, just kind of moving it around, and we've kind of got just a real light, airy pink and blue panel, two panels that we can use. And I'm just going to move this out and let them dry. So I'll get these distressed oxide inks put up, and I've got my panel here, and I'm just going to start working with all of these scraps and figure out what I'm going to do with them. So I've got a card base here, and I'm just giving it a quick press with my bone folder, and I'm just kind of looking at the materials and trying to decide, what do I want to do with them. I really didn't have a plan or take much time to prep, so I'm just kind of fumble around with bits and pieces and try and figure out what I'm going to do. Now, this was one of them that I die cut the flower out, and I was thinking about layering it with this airy paper that I had sprayed, and I'm just going to kind of fiddle around, and eventually we'll get going and I'll figure out what I'm going to do. This is part of my crafting, is to just kind of try different things and try and see what'll work, what I like, what I don't like, and then just kind of build off of that. So I always try, when I'm doing a die cut piece like that, I try and lay it in the center so that I can use that card panel for a layering, and usually it works out just fine. I do that a lot because it saves on materials. And so I'm just going to get it laid. I'm going to get this blue panel laid down here on our card base, and then we'll start building our first card. Now, what prompted me to get this out is Daria and I were planning for our Monday morning live, and she said, what do you want to do? And I said, let's do old card kits. And so we've got plans to do that on Monday. But as I was thinking about that and looking at it, what I wanted to use, I found this one and had just scraps left, and I thought, I'm going to do a video with this beforehand and just get this stuff out of here. So I'm trying to figure out how I can cover this up and begin making a card. So I'm just kind of auditioning some things, as my friend Jana would say, and figure out what I'm going to do. So I've decided to cut this panel down. I think it maybe wasn't completely square, and so I'm just trying to figure out where I want to cut it and square it off. A lot of these weren't square, and I had to square them up because I don't know what I did when I was working with it before. I think I did some KCC cards with this set. I'm pretty sure that I did, because I think I got this kit from KCC, so I'm not sure. I could go back on my videos and look and see when I worked with this, and that would tell us how old it is. And I was trying to figure out if I could use that pink. The problem is it has a cut in the side where the larger space is, and so I'm still going to fiddle around with this and trying to decide what to do. You can see I'm just trying all the different little strips that I have and trying to figure out what will work with it. And so I think I've landed on this, And I've decided to cut this panel down, take a 1/4 of an inch off both sides of it, and then we'll be able to lay our pattern paper on it. And I'm going to cut it down to, I guess I'm seeing what I'm actually measuring it, and then I'm going to cut down the other piece that I want to add to it, and then we'll do it. So there's quite a bit of fumbling around with these cards, with these scraps. So I think what I'll do is I'll speed up the video, and you can watch me just kind of use the bits and pieces and throw them together, and then we'll come back and see. I'm going to make a bunch of cards, and we're going to blow all this up. So we're getting this third one finished up here, and I decided for this one I didn't have the spacing right on the strip, so I brought in the Love from Lizzie pink glitter pill-offs, and I'm laying them down on there and filling in the space, and I really like how that added the glittery sparkly shine to this card. So that was pretty fun. So I'm still in speed mode here, finishing up, and because this was a really lengthy video, before I sped it up, I just made the 3 cards on the video, and then I shut the camera off, and I made several other, let's see how many other ones. I guess I made 4 more, and just blew up all of that pattern paper there, and the floral die cut, and the circle, that circle that had the edge on it. I just blew all of them up, and then used all the bits and pieces on the inside of the card that was left, and I got rid of all of that pattern paper. So that's where I turned the camera off, and now I've got the stack of them. This was the first one where I painted the bunny, and I added the little bunny tail in the basket, and I just put the bits of the paper that was on the front on the inside. We've got the second bunny one, and I did the same thing, brought in the extra scraps. And this was our third card, and I took the panel that I sprayed the bunny on and cut it out and added it. I thought that was fun. And then when I went off camera, I remembered I had the stamp set to go with it. So I put the spring wishes and stamped the flowers on there and just used more of the paper. You're going to see I, used all the little squares and the odd-shaped things to try and use them up. I had these corner pieces, and I used those. I did bring in an embossing folder from Love from Lizzie and used it. And then here I used all the small strips and laid them down, and then I did that. So that finished up all of them, and I got rid of that kit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.